Okay, a warm welcome to our webinar. My name is Petra Ritter. I am the coordinator of the Testing and Experimentation Facility for Health, AI and Robotics, short TEF-Health. And today in the webinar, you have the opportunity to meet TEF-Health service providers for clinical virtual testing and database validation at CHUR Grenoble and CHUR Rennes. The TEF-Health supports healthcare enterprises coping with the very complex regulations in Europe, and specifically with the AI Act, that is a novel regulation that poses strict requirements to new AI-based technologies before they can enter the European market. Here you see a couple of these requirements like human agency and oversight, technical robustness and safety, privacy and data governance, transparency, diversity, non-discrimination and fairness, societal and environmental well-being and accountability. And the fulfillment of AI Act requirements needs to be tested, validated and documented and also undergo CE marking. To support the companies with these challenges, the European Commission and member states have established so-called TEFs, testing experimentation facilities in different sectors. TEF-Health has been established in 2023. As defined by the AI Act, TEFs provide technical and scientific support for AI providers and notified bodies. TEF-Health is comprising presently 9 member states and 52 partner organizations providing their services and development capacities to AI providers. In future, TEF-Health will be a permanent infrastructure in Europe with more member states and organizations to join. Importantly, TEF-Health already now supports companies from the entire European Economic Area. Here we see the AI life cycle with different phases from planning via validation to the deployment and real-world evaluation. TEFs provide services to support the testing and validation phase to ensure that products comply with the applicable regulations. And we offer services that range from technical testing to clinical testing and from regulatory support to data access. We offer a single marketplace where all the services can be discovered. Presently, we have 360 service offerings by 32 service providers in 8 member states. So if you go to our website, tefhealth.eu, you can search for the services. They are publicly accessible, annotated richly, and also most of the services come with a price and also with discounts. So if you end up in our catalog, you will have the possibility to do a keyword search or also use detailed filters, for example, for country, organization, and so forth to identify the suitable services for your requirements. Many services are subsidized, and to benefit from these subsidies, companies can apply to our open calls. 3 open calls are presently ongoing, and more details can be found via this button here. Benefiting from TEF-Health services is easy. This is a user journey. You first create an account, select the services of interest, then select between fast track or subsidized services, go through the matchmaking phase, and then sign your contract and get the service. In the little video that I will play in a moment, you get some guideline how you apply for subsidized services or select to go via the fast track to get direct access to the service providers.
Welcome to the TEF-Health portal. This guide will demonstrate how to browse services, apply for discounted support, or submit a quick direct service request. We commence with registration. Enter your work email, set a password, and verify your email by following the confirmation link we send. Upon logging in, you will land on a dashboard composed of various cards, each serving as a shortcut. The card labeled Request TEF-Health Service opens the Service Explorer, which functions as your catalog. Within the Service Explorer, the left sidebar contains filtering options, a search box at the top, followed by discount calls, if applicable, category toggles, physical, consulting, virtual, service type, country, provider, and offerings. Utilize these filters to narrow down the list. On the right, you may switch between card view, a sortable table view, or institutions. Clicking any service card opens a detailed modal displaying the logo, pricing, operational information, and options to select or bookmark. Close the modal to continue browsing. Select multiple services if you intend to submit a discounted application. When satisfied with your selected services, click the Apply for Discount button that appears, which opens the application form pre-populated with your chosen services. The form guides you through inputting company and contact information, product basics, readiness level, TRL, service requirements, data needs, eligibility checkboxes, and consent areas. You may save a draft at any point. Once all information is complete and accurate, apply for review. For a single service at full price, return to the Service Explorer, select the service, and choose Request Service. The expedited form is concise, requesting organization, product, contact details, and confirmation. Submitting the form creates the request instantly. Track the progress of your requests by opening the My Service Requests section. Discounted applications are organized by stages: draft, submitted, under review, and accepted. Fast track requests display their own status line: draft, submitted, accepted, or rejected. Clicking any entry reveals its details, messages, and, if permitted, the option to add more services. Once a request is accepted, delivery and follow-up are managed within the service overview area, where items are grouped by operational status: planned, in progress, or completed. This separation ensures clarity between execution and intake. If assistance is needed, each record includes an Ask a Question button for contextual support. A help desk section is available for addressing broader concerns. In summary, utilize a discounted application when seeking financial support for multiple services, or opt for a fast-track service request for direct provision. Register now and explore our services for testing and validating your AI solution at TEF-Health.eu.
Okay, so the video is also available on our TEF-Health YouTube channel, and also the webinar will be recorded and made available on YouTube. And with this, it remains to me to now hand over to the two main speakers today, Paul-Antoine Bedouin and Franck Monet. It's your floor. Thank you.
Thank you, Petra. So I'm going to share here. Can you see my screen correctly?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, great. So, hello everyone. My name is Franck Monet. I work at the Rennes University Hospital as a research engineer, and I am presenting today together with Paul-Antoine Baudouin, who works at Grenoble Alpes University Hospital. So today we will explain how clinical data warehouse operates, what are our objectives, what kind of data are available in our database, and how we support the development and evaluation of health AI solutions. So TEF-Health is a large European consortium, as Petra said just before, bringing together like 52 partners and with complementary areas of expertise. So it includes university hospital, research center, certification bodies, university, and more. And you can see on the right part the French partners. So within this ecosystem, we represent a clinical data warehouse of two French university hospitals. So to better understand our role, let me introduce you the clinical data warehouse. So our core mission is the reuse of real-world health data, structured around three main pillars. So the first one is we collect the data from the hospital information system, We then harmonized, structure these various data sources within a centralized environment. Second, we transform the data into knowledge through statistical analysis and other data tools engineering. We extract a meaningful insight from both structured data and unstructured medical reports, for example. And third, we aim to translate this knowledge into clinical and innovation application. This objective is to support improvements in the patient care pathway and enable the development of AI-based healthcare solutions. And this is precisely where collaboration with SMEs and innovators become essential. So now let's look at the key objectives. So the primary role of the clinical data warehouse is to enable the reuse of medical data to support research, to improve clinical outcomes, to reduce cost, and increase the overall efficiency of the healthcare system. So first, in the field of clinical research, it allows to conduct feasibility studies, to perform cohort pre-screening, and to provide structured data set to clinicians and researchers. Second, it supports epidemiological surveillance, enabling near real-time monitoring of epidemics, which is a major public health challenge. We also cover drug safety monitoring, including the detection of adverse events, for example, through the analysis of drugs interaction, as well as the identification of uh, predictive factors for adverse reaction. Also, it supports medical economics through coding optimization, care pathway analysis, and improve healthcare system management. And finally, it supports the development of personalized medicine, for example, by enabling patient stratification and guiding patients toward the most suitable clinical care, especially in oncology, for example. And as part of the TEF-Health, our role is built on our expertise on real-world data reuse, combined with access to clinical expertise, methodological guidance, and regulatory support, which ensure the AI solutions are clinically relevant, technically robust, and compliant with the European regulation. And we will see how later in the presentation how we help. So this slide is provided here to make an overview of the origin of the data we treat and the data flow. So the data is generated during everyday interaction and examination between the patient and the hospital staff, including the physicians, the nurses, and other healthcare professionals. This data is recorded in various medical software systems that together form the hospital information system. And as you can see, there is multiple data flows coexisting in this environment. So we extract the relevant ones and securely transfer them into our clinical data warehouse within a centralized repository where data are harmonized, processed, and structured. We then use dedicated data exploration tools and algorithm method to perform structure query, analysis, and knowledge extraction. And I let the floor to Paul-Antoine.
Thank you, Frank. Here, the goal is to provide you with a little catalog of what kind of data we have in our data warehouse. So the first one is clinical biological data. So as Frank said, we collect data that are produced during patient care. And so we have demographics like age, sex of the patient, basic statistical characteristics. And we have also biological examination that are performed on different samples, such as blood, urine, saliva, etc. All you can find in an hospital in routinely care. Then you have a a drug part with drug prescriptions made by the medical staff and drug administration. That is different because it's when the nurses will give the drug to a patient. So we have drug prescriptions and administrations. Then we have another part of clinical data that are contained in free text. So we have this data that we call unstructured data that are contained in medical reports. Then we have different kinds of medical reports like inpatient reports, outpatient reports, nursing reports, etc. And these reports contain many types of data, examination results, clinical signs, diagnosis, etc. So we will have a look on these medical reports and what we can do with it. So these reports are plenty of information, and we can, in our data warehouse, develop specific natural language processing pipelines to help you exploit this report and catch the relevant data you want in this report. Like this, we can go from these reports and transform it in tabular data in which you find the data you need. Then we have another type, a very important type of data, that is medical imaging. All the images that are recorded in the hospital information system. So you have various methods for acquiring these images, like MRI, PET scans, X-ray, ultrasound, CT scans, and more. The common point between all these images is that all images are compliant to the DICOM standard, and this is very important for data reuse. These DICOM standards contain for sure the image, but also a report of image analysis and some metadata on the image type, the acquisition type, acquisition settings, and so on. And you have very important information in this metadata that you can use in all data warehouses. Then you have other types of data that are recorded, often recorded in ICU or in the operative rooms, that are physiological signs. So these signals are recorded in the information system at a high frequency. And when we catch it from the information system, there is a signal processing step. And we have in our data warehouse only signal derived parameters. What does that mean for you as an SME? It means that if you want to use these signals, this data must require a feasibility study to see what are the parameters we have on these signals in our data warehouse and how you can conduct a study on that. Then the key point about clinical data warehouse is that I presented each data types independently, but the final goal of our clinical data warehouse is to link all this data along the care pathway of the patient. So you have a patient that have a care pathway in the hospital, and thanks to the clinical data warehouse, we will link the DICOM images that were performed of the patient. We will link the medical reports, the laboratory tests, to have a coherent view of the patient along the care pathway. And this is the key strength of the clinical data warehouse. And then Frank will present you a bit more our service offer to request this data.
Okay, so to better understand our services, we position them along the typical AI development pipeline in healthcare. So this pipeline starts with defining clinical needs, followed by data identification, collection, and preparation. Then there is model training and development phase. Then evaluation, there is some documentation along the way, and finally the clinical validation. So we provide support at every stage of an AI development process from the initial clinical question to the evaluation of the solution. So let's move to the service we provide. We start with the initial consulting. This is the entry point. We work with SMEs to clarify their clinical objectives, to better understand their technical and data needs and define the scope of the project. Then we go for the feasibility study. Here we assess the data availability, within our clinical data warehouse. We perform preliminary cohort identification, evaluate the volume and quality of the available data, and determine whether the project is realistically achievable. In parallel, we launch the methodological advice service, which provides continuous support throughout the entire project. So this service offers scientific and methodological guidance, ensuring the AI solutions are clinically relevant, well designed, and aligned with regulatory requirements. It includes, for example, a regular meeting with the clinical research project manager, a structured review of the research protocol, and optional support from the clinician and clinical data science, for example. Once the project framework is defined, we move to regulatory and data access aspect. So we support SMEs in preparing the necessary regulatory documentation with the service ethical and legal advising, such as the preparation of regulatory compliance documentation, including, for example, GDPR impact assessment, the submission to ethic and data protection authorities, and the development of the data management plan. Once the regulatory part is done, we provide access to real-world clinical data extracted from our database by building a dedicated data mart with the service 5. This includes the patient and cohort selection, as well as the extraction of the variable of interest. If needed, we also perform data cleaning as well as annotation or segmentation. And we can also provide descriptive statistical analysis. Alongside the data provision service, companies can also benefit from algorithm development, so the service 7. While the service 7 mainly focus on structured data extraction, the service 5, service 7 allow us to go further by supporting advanced data processing and feature extraction, especially when specific features are difficult to extract from unstructured data. So for example, we can use natural language processing to extract meaningful information from free text. Once more, company can also benefit from service 6, which provide a secure but scalable platform that adapt to the company's development needs in terms of processing, for example, during the model training phase. Whereas the service 5 is mainly focused and limited to data visualization and basic data processing. Once the algorithm is developed, we move to service 8, testing and evaluation. So this step is critical to ensure that the solution meets regulatory, technical, and clinical requirements. We perform a structured assessment aligned with the AI Act, evaluating key dimensions such as the data quality, the transparency, technical robustness, human oversight, clinical acceptability, interoperability, etc. So also, hospital practitioner may be involved to confirm that the algorithm is both clinically relevant and practically implemented implementable in real-world settings. Finally, we offer support for scientific dissemination. This includes helping with scientific publication, reviewing research documents, and participating to conferences and events. Sharing these results is scientific with the scientific community increase the credibility, the validity, and trust for AI solutions. And after the development pipeline, the project moved to clinical validation in real clinical practice. And this is another area where both our hospital can provide strong support with our clinical investigation center. And I give back the floor to Antoine.
Yeah, to go further on this analysis, we must say that we can perform other analysis than AI training and testing. As we have retrospective data that are collected during patient care, you can perform all observational studies you want on this data. If you can go to the next. For example, for these observational studies in the development of medical devices, you can use this to conduct security studies, to assist your efficiency studies, or to go for the post-market clinical follow-up thanks to our clinical data warehouse. And do not hesitate to contact us to know more on how we can conduct this type of studies. Then we highlight some medical specialties we work with in our hospitals. This is not an exhaustive list, but you must know that both of our centers work with cardiologists, intensive cares. In the Rennes hospital, they have an expertise in nephrology and geriatric medicine, while in Grenoble, we work a lot with orthopedics, hematology, nutrition, and traumatology. To finish with our presentation on a very concrete way, we propose you a use case with the MED AI project. So it's a project we conduct in the Hospital of Grenoble with 2 startups. And the goal was to build an AI-assisted planification system for robotic spine surgery. Concretely, it was about constituting a data set to test an algorithm developed by a company, and this algorithm was able to segment very precisely the spine of the patient. The request was a retrospective data set over 10 years with spine CT scans, so images, but also clinical data from free text, DICOM metadata, and structured clinical data. So I will explain you how we did that. The first was a consulting phase, so our first services and the methodological help services. So we helped the SME to build an AI Act compliant methodology with our methodological advice, with medical review, and with our help on GDPR compliance. Based this consulting phase, we went to the data collection phase in our clinical data warehouse. We used structured procedure codes over 10 years to identify patients and develop some specific NLP pipelines to discriminate traumatic spine between degenerative spine patients. Then we collected images of the right patients to construct the retrospective dataset. So all along this use case, you see that we can manipulate structured data, text, and images to build a coherent dataset with precise populations of patients. This project was built on a multidisciplinary team with medical data scientists, medical experts, clinical research assistants, methodologists, etc. To conclude this presentation, our key takeaway are that our clinical data warehouses offer first access to real-world clinical data collected during patients' care. We offer also a full set of services from clinical need analysis to algorithm testing and evaluation. And you can be helped by our multidisciplinary teams to fulfill your needs in the development of health AI and robotic medical device. Do not hesitate to contact us with the emails at the bottom of the slide. And thank you for your attention. If